Okay, hi, this is Uber here. Gonna talk about the barb I level 2. It's almost close to 100 at this point. Took me maybe just under a week. It's not that hard, to be honest, once you know what you're doing. I didn't do any of the meta barb builds, mainly because I wanted to be a hipster and try something new. I mean, not that really, actually. Most of the reason why I've decided to play a barb was because I like the way Barb's aspects and skills are designed as opposed to a rogue. I think rogues are kind of meh right now, personally, even though they're quite strong. And the reason being is I feel that the issue with rogue is it's very heavily dependent on a few very core mechanics. Like if you take away, let's say, cooldowns from traps, right? You know, traps blocking cooldowns, a lucky hit. You take away twisting blades. Rogue really doesn't have that much after that, right? Mostly imbuements, and imbuements feel really clunky. So personally, I wouldn't. I mean, I would. Next league, I'll probably play a barb, not a rogue. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna show you what this build is about, and then briefly talk about it. I feel like it's worth highlighting, I guess, that this isn't really like a standard bar build. I don't think anyone has kind of showcased a build like this. Pretty sure the Rob has a similar setup, but the focus is on probably different things. Yeah, I'm experimenting with a bleed setup as well, but I'm not sure if the bleed setup is worth it. I don't really see any drop in damage, so that's the reason why I've gone bleed. So, mostly you're just going to be zooming around the map using lead. Using okay, we're zooming around the map using leap and lunging strike. As you can tell, kick when you have like vulnerability and it crits, goes up to like I think 14 million damage. Yeah. And that usually just one-shots most packs. Can even one-shot the Nightmare Dungeon boss at the end of the Nightmare Dungeon. I think I have to go the other way. Do take note that this build did get a bit of a nerf recently. Not really nerf, they called it a fix. But you know what, at some point the codexes was scaling with levels and not with item power level. So you could get pretty huge damage on your leap quakes and your kicks, kick explosions. Like you would get maybe about 10,000 over 4 seconds, or was it over 5 seconds? I can't remember. Is it 4 or 5? I'll show you 10,000 damage over 4 seconds on your amulet for leap quick from the earthquakes that come from leap, and then you got like 20,000, almost 22,000 damage of kick explosions if you had it on the two-hander. Unfortunately, they saw fit to remove this. I don't know why. Personally, the problem with this build right now is not really the single target. It's well, sustain single target is an issue, but you're not really having any issues with damage or sustain below like Nightmare 60, right? Because everything's just one-shottable. But the problem right now, it's actually clear. Because if in the past, when I had with the old leap quick damage and old kick damage, you would just leap once and all the trash mobs just die. Yeah, you just leap into them and you keep leaping forward. You basically kill the entire map that way. So that made for very fast, very efficient clear. Now you can't really do that, so yikes. Just too lazy to walk across. Oh wait. $13 million damage there. Okay. Briefly talk about the build, the items you need, and then the skills, and then expertise and abilities. Oh, on Paragon, sorry. Yeah. So I'm gonna show you the items right now. Helmet, you just want maximum fury, cooldown reduction, maximum life. Last one is whatever. It doesn't really matter. I've gone for all stats here. You may or may not want to go for all stats. Aspect is the armor one, so that one's obviously really strong. You're gonna use it in every single build, I think, in the game right now. So yeah. Chest, I'm going Rage of Harrogath. For one, the lucky hit aspect or the unique bonus basically allows you to keep reducing your cooldowns on leap and ground stomp on bosses, so it allows you to get have sustained DPS. So this is with lunging strike only. I think you don't get reductions from other skills for some reason, even though you can have sources of bleed on them. I think that probably needs to get fixed, but lunging strike does help with this. So with lunging strike, since I have the bleed skill on it, it basically just keeps reducing the cooldowns when I'm dealing with leads with lunging strike, especially on the Nightmare Dungeon boss. But the main reason why I'm going for a rage is actually because 10.5% crit strike chance is actually amazing. Can obviously go up to 12, but I have only 10.5 here. And then it does have some DR in the form of damage reduction for enemies that are bleeding. So those two is together pretty nice. That's why I've gone for Rage of Harrogath. Gloves, you don't really need core skill levels. What you're looking for is crit chance, lucky, and attack speed. The last mod is whatever you want, but in this case, crit chance against injured is pretty valuable, so I've gone for that. The aspect here is, I'm not sure this is good, right? Technically, it would be 30% more damage, assuming that your bleeds can also crit if you have that skill. Otherwise, it's actually a bit less. But the reason why I have this is I did need a source of bleed on my skills, mainly because the Pro Rage of Harrogath, or as what I thought would work. I don't think it works now anyway, it doesn't matter. But also because there are other conditionals that require the enemy to be bleeding, so I figured I might as well do this. But I could definitely swap out the aspect for something else, another damage aspect, for example. Yeah. So pants, you need 4 levels to kick, you need 4 levels to leap. For cooldowns, I'll show you exactly how much cooldowns it gives you. You also need damage reduction. So I've gone for damage reduction to close and injured. You can swap out close to fortify. Fortify damage reduction, I think, is a lot more reliable. Yeah, so I will technically go for fortify and injured if I could. But yeah, the levels to kick and leap are pretty important. You can tell that this is not exactly a tanky build for the sole reason that your chest has you can't go like 4 damage reduction mods, and then your pants you can only go 2, not 4. So like barb can get a lot tankier if you've gone for like a rare chest and a rare pants that just needs damage reduction, right? So that would be like Hoda and any core skill based build. Yeah, so that's a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? Boots, every single bar build is gonna go for the same set of boot mods, I feel. Like you're gonna go for damage reduction when injured. You're gonna go for berserking duration, fury cost reduction, and movement speed. I don't really use the fury cost reduction, I think, because it doesn't really matter for kick. But yeah, so I mean I've gone for this only because it makes the most sense, right? If I need to swap builds, I'll still use this one. Aspect is obviously the damaging enemy with kick or ground storm presets leaps cooldown. This is to help you get leap on an even faster cooldown if you need to. So if you really need to leap and you have like a 3-second cooldown left, you can always bypass that with a kick or a ground stomp. You're gonna do both pretty often because the cooldowns on them are low, and also because Rage or Hieroglyph does help you reduce the cooldowns for those. So you have a pretty nice cycle going on here. For the two-handed bludgeoning weapon, you don't really need this for damage because you're going to be dual wielding, as you can see on my character. But yeah, let me show you exactly stats you need. Obviously strength, all stats, crit damage, and vuln. Those are like the 4 big ones for barb. You're going to always go for this set of stats for almost every single weapon. It's very unlikely that you want something else, right? In this case, the aspect I've gone here is for the Edge Masters, so 38% increased damage based on the available primary resource when cast. The more primary resource you have available, and when you have full primary resource, you basically want to emphasize on those things because of how kick works. I'll show you exactly how that works, and that's the reason why I've been doing like 14 mil kicks, right? I can probably push that up to like 15 or 16, probably even 18 actually if you think about it. But it will require me to like push it more into DPS. So yeah, that you're also definitely going to go for what's the term for it, emeralds, just because crit damage while vulnerable is like the most reliable. You know, it applies to bosses that cannot be crowd control. So yeah, I must say that Bobhead usually has very terrible vulnerable uptime, so you're gonna, it's like within that 3-second window, you really want to one-shot that boss. Otherwise, fights can take a little long. So, anyway, for the one-hander, you're going for a mace. I'll explain to you why a mace is ideal later. You're gonna dual wield mace and a sword. In this case, the reason why you've got mace, actually I'll tell you later. The same stats, right? So strength, vulnerable damage, all stats, and crit damage, strike damage. I've gone for the single kick mod here. This is just to improve clear. Personally, I might not want to leave this here. I think it's kind of meh now. Like, I don't think this is like good at all. The problem is like what you're gonna swap it out with. So I am considering a setup where I move towards thorns, but I mean that it doesn't look good on paper, so I'm not actually moving to that yet. So yeah, as usual, you're going for emeralds here as well. Okay, so this is an interesting setup. The reason why I'm going dual wield is Ramaldi's Magnum Opus. This is a pretty underrated unique, because one, dual wield is quite restrictive, and like very few people want the dual wield as their as a default. But the reason why this is good is you get 0.3% increased damage per point of fury you have, but you lose 2 fury every second. Yeah, so if you look at my fury right now, it's 216. So this is more than 60% more damage at max fury, and you're gonna have max fury most of the time anyway because of leap. And when you do kicks with max fury, you get basically the free 60% more damage. You get the free 40% more damage from Edge Masters. You can tell these are pretty insane multipliers. So that's the reason why you're going to run all these Magnum Opus. The mods on it aren't particularly amazing. Crit damage on sword is nice, right? The lucky hit is interesting, but it's mostly that 60% more damage, right? Because this is effectively like a more damage multiplier that on a one-hander, right? Normally you get this kind of aspect on a two-hander, and then it takes out two-hander slot. In this case, it's on a one-hander, right? So free damage. Dual wield is also pretty nice. I'll show you. I can show you the damage calculations later. Dual wield is also nice because it's a lot faster. It's at 1.1 base attacks per second, versus like 0.9. So you're gonna leap them across the map much faster. You know, it improves your clear, I guess. Two-handed sword, unfortunately, I would like this to have a strength, all stat, crit damage, and vuln, but you know, this I can only find one with close. So, yeah, if I could find one with vuln, that'd be great. But if I can't, this will just stay as it is. So you want the aspect for ground stomp, creates earthquake damaging enemies for that amount physical damage. While standing earthquakes, you do increased damage. So this includes the earthquakes you spawn from leap. See, this is leap, and I've got both the damage increase and reduction bonuses from the aspects. So you're gonna get 30% free damage, more damage for free most of the time. Ground stomp having earthquake also gives you a bit of clear, which is nice. You're gonna use using ground stomp anyway because it's the only thing you can have a reliable stun, and also because you're gonna be able to what's that for it? Yeah, you're gonna reset the using this as well. So there's pretty nice synergies. Yeah, let's go to rings. Both rings you want the same thing. You want max fury, vulnerable damage, crit strike chance. You could potentially swap out either crit strike chance or vuln damage for resource generation. It really depends. I don't really see a need to increase my resource generation, so I have not done that. But this would be like a pure damage ring, right? So max fury, vuln damage, crit chance. I have killing an enemy while berserking is a 40% chance to grant increased cooldown reduction for your brawling skills for the next 2 seconds. That means your brawling skills will have a 26% cooldown reduction. That means they have like less cooldowns, right? So I'll give you an example. If you kill a mob, this is like 6.42 for 2 seconds. Whenever you cast your leap, it will be on a 6.42 cooldown. You know, on a 6.4 second cooldown, which is not too bad because you can pair it with this, right? So the same exact mods, but look at the aspect. It reduces the cooldown lead by 5 seconds per enemy hit up to a maximum of 9. If you have this active and you proc this, it's a 1 point something second cooldown, right? You don't have to even use kick or ground stomp to basically leap again. Just roll a bit or run a bit and then you can leap. Leap also has an interesting thing where if leap doesn't damage any enemies, its cooldown is reduced by 4 seconds. So if you hit an enemy, it's 5. You hit 2 enemies, it's 9. And if you hit no enemies, it's 4. So that means you're gonna be able to just pretty much leap consistently across the map at all times. So this makes for a pretty mobile build. I'll say that this is about the same level of mobility, or maybe even higher than that of a rogue with twisting blades and resets from Death Trap. But yeah, personally, out of the two, I prefer this compared to rogue, even though rogue has better AOE DPS. I would say that if they didn't nerf the aspects, this would have actually a faster clear than rogue. But you know, it is what it is, right? So amulet, this isn't perfect yet. There are the last mod, the dual wield damage with dual wielded weapons. I feel like if I could get something else with that, I mean, if I could get like, so for example, damage reduction while injured, I would be very happy to get that. So 3 brawling, cooldown, 3 of damage passive, and then 40% damage reduction while injured would be my go-to for perfect. You're gonna always imprint this, so your aspect will be leap creates an earthquake that deals up to a max, I think, of 5,000 something, 5.5 over 4 seconds. While standing earthquakes, you gain damage reduction. This is the bread and butter of your clear, because you know, yeah, here you go. Damage. Damage doesn't look very high now. It can crit, by the way, so it does benefit from vulnerability. It doesn't have lucky hit. And I think because it counts as direct damage, it also well, bleeds, I feel. You're not gonna see it because they die too fast. Yeah, so that's it for items. Oh yeah, for I've got damage reduction while control impaired. I don't. Well, my take is the only time you do die on this build is when you have like your perma frozen or perma stun and getting 50% almost 40, almost 50% damage reduction while controlling pet does help quite a bit, especially when you get to low. You basically, your life will hit to like 20-30% and just stay there for a long while. So you can get chain stun for a pretty long time and survive, especially at like 50 somethings to 60s. Above that, the damage becomes like insane. The incoming damage becomes insane. You need a lot more damage reduction to deal with those. But yeah, I've gone for topazes for that reason. I know a lot of barbs go sapphires, but I feel like most of the time you die, it's not because you're just taking damage. Most of the time you die because you're taking damage and you can't do anything about it. I think also because most barbs probably go for like perma shouts, and if you're perma shouted, you're perma unstoppable. So that's the reason why they don't care for this as much. But in this case, we're not perma shouting, so yeah. Expertise, I'm actually on 200 swords because I'm experimenting right now. I want to do more direct damage as bleed, so right now I have it at 50%. And the reason why I want to try this is because I have been going for this particular what's the thing for it? Key passive. I do think that actually I've previously been using this one, but after I swapped to this one, I don't see a noticeable increase in damage, so I'm a bit confused. So yeah, I've gone for this at the moment. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. What else? You can go for this one for Vuln. The problem is Vuln uptime is pretty low, unless you. So Vuln uptime is low on the things you don't care about. Not low on the things you care about. So like bosses that take a longer time. On trash mobs, you don't really quite care. So like, I personally feel like this is a bit of a debate. It's great, I guess, if you can if you can consistently one-shot stuff. Yeah, sure, this is always gonna be best, right? But I feel like there is no straight answer. Like you have to go for this and not something else. I would like this as well. This 20% more for stun is nice. The problem is, mobs at the end of a what's that for it? Well, you don't have very easy access to the stun. You actually have more vuln uptime than you have more stun uptime, and at the same time, you can't stun like bosses, nightmare dungeon bosses at the end. So, yeah. So I would probably go for this as a default, and like now I'm just experimenting with this one. I do feel like personally, the weapon expertise, some of them are just meh. Like, what is this? Crit strike chance against injured is kind of pointless. I do feel like there needs to be defense oriented expertise. Like if you gave access like, I don't know, 10% damage reduction on bleeding targets, I think more people will run it, right? So same with maces. What the hell is this? 2 fury? That's terrible. 10% chance lucky hit 2 fury, and this one is like 10% chance to gain 5 fury and hitting a crowd control enemy. These two are like the worst, I think. Alright, let's go to skills. So skills, you're gonna go for lunging strike. You're gonna level this up, and the reason why you're leveling it up is you're getting nothing here. Because you're getting absolutely nothing here, as you're just gonna level this up just to get points to get to here, right? So you're going for the battle lunging strike, so you inflict bleed. This is for Rage of Harogath. This gives you a bit of heal, which is nice. Yeah, and just levels because you're not gonna put it anywhere else. So when you get to here, what you're gonna do is you're going for Rallying Cry. You're gonna go for Enhance, so Unstoppable and Strategic. Very good for getting your life back up. So this is a oh shit button, especially when you get chain CC'd. You press this, then you start getting life back quickly, and that keeps you alive. Ground Stomp, I would, generates 25 fury. Obviously, if you want more fury generation sources just for your kick. I have absolutely no idea what ground stomp duration is. Is it stun duration? Maybe. I don't know. 5 seconds. I have no idea. Right. So yeah. Anyway, I would, I would actually prefer more levels on this. Maybe get this to 5. You can't get this to more than 5 because your chest armor is Rage of Harogath. But no, I've run out of points, right? So imposing presence, 15% additional maximum life. The only reason why I've gone for this specifically is maximum life is pretty hard to come by. I'll be frank. 15 is a huge amount. If you go to your Paragon 3, getting like 15 is like a lot of points and a lot of investment. So if you can get 15 just with 3 attributes, I would suggest it. So that's what I've done. So yeah. Going here, this is where majority of points are gonna go to. You're gonna try to max out kick as much as possible. You're getting 3 from the amulet, and was it 5? Oh, sorry, 3 from amulet and 4 from the pants. So that's 7 total. You only need to like add 3 levels here. Every subsequent level of kick is actually like just 2 points. Actually, it's not that much. There's just sorry, not 2 points. 0.2 seconds. So it's not that much. So personally, I've left it at 10. I think I'm quite happy with it being at 10. Yeah, it really depends on your comfort levels. Warcry is at 4 just because of plus 3 from the amulet. You're going for enhanced Warcry, so berserking, so more berserk uptime is nice. If at least 6 enemies are nearby when you cast Warcry, your damage bonus increased by another 10%. I actually, maybe this is not as required. Yeah, maybe this is not as required. And you don't really need this actually, so maybe just do this. Because this is only good when you're fighting like large quantities of mobs, and right now I don't really see any issues with damage when fighting like groups. It's mostly like a single target on bosses. Because if I don't have that one shot, you know, I'm just stuck there for a while. So yeah, you're going for obviously Warcry, shout durations, because shouts are pretty OP. All right, if shouts stop being OP, you can probably drop this. You know, heal 2% maximum life per second is good. Because you know, the only other way of getting life back for Barb, you're going leap, obviously maxing out like crazy, just getting like as low a cooldown as possible. I've got it to 8.45 because of level 12. Yeah, you want to go enhanced leap. I mean, and this is mandatory anyway. And then leap, if leap damages at least one enemy, gain 40 fury. You can get like, you can actually boost this up quite a bit, because if your willpower is high enough, like 70, I get like 70% increased resource generation, and then afterwards you get like another 18% multiplier on top of that. So you get quite a bit of energy from leap, and if you can like spam leap and your attack speed's fast enough, you pretty much just max out your fury instantly. So yeah, going here, you obviously get this to bridge to these two. Fury generation increased by 18% is pretty massive. So definitely this. Battle Fervor, when a brawling skill damages at least one enemy, gain berserking for 2 seconds. You're literally spamming brawling skills, because kick, because of leap, you know, you're always gonna have like a pretty decent uptime. This also gives you berserking, although it doesn't give you 2 seconds, because it doesn't damage. Yeah. Then we go here and increase damage to close enemies, so 9% more damage is nice. 9% crit. Right, you're always going to be slowing because of this. So one point is bleeding effect, slow enemies by 10%. Yeah, and then you go here. Every time you take direct damage, gain 0.4% base life as fortify. So this is it's alright. It's not too bad. It's just mostly to puff to this. When you fortify over 50% of your maximum life, which is almost all the time, you deal 12% increased damage. So 12% more damage is nice. You path here. And then you get this. So while up, your skills using bludgeoning weapons deal 30% increase damage, 30% more damage if your enemy is stunned or vulnerable. So vulnerable uptime is important. Stun, you're very rarely going to have like stun all the time. But the reason why, this is the precise reason why you're going for a mace instead. Because the mace basically gives your dual wield like a bludgeoning weapon source. And this applies, right? So this just gives you 30% more damage outright. It's pretty sizable. And then you path here and you get unconstrained is good. I would generally go for this, but I've gone for this just to test out the bleed setup, because it does give my bleeds a chance to technically crit. It's not a crit per se, it just gives them like a crit effect, right? This one doesn't work because kick is not a core skill. If it was, that would be nice. I mean, if it said skills deal 135% more damage, but cost 100% more fury, I'll be inclined to try this out. I'm not sure if it works because, you know, kick Oh yeah, did I go into kick mechanics? No, I didn't. So yeah, this is like one of the key damage sources, right? So kick. It's on a 6.66 second cooldown right now because it's at level 11. It does give you vulnerable for 4 seconds. This is pretty nice, right? As I said, vulnerable uptime is an issue, but when you have kick like this, it's not too bad. Okay, so here's the problem, right? You wanna start with a usually when you start, right, you proc exploit, so that's 3 seconds. You want to kick immediately within that 3 seconds, and that gives you a 4 second window. You want to generate enough fury within that 4 seconds to kick again. Whatever you do, you kick, you generate fury, and then you kick again, right? That's literally how your execution is going to be. And that's how you're going to deal with like very tanky targets. And most of the time they will get one shot. Like you really have to like get 0 crits in order for them to like survive. And I'll show you exactly later why that's not really a problem, because your crit's like 60%. But yeah, kick is insane. And then also, if kick damages an enemy, it consumes all of your fury and deals an additional 3 20% damage per 10 fury spent. You have like 210 fury to use, right? So from max to 0, that's 210. That is 2. That is 20% times 2.1, 20.21. Sorry, what I'm talking about. That is about 420% damage. So it is a pretty sizable amount of damage. When things go as planned, when you have max fury. Yeah. So that's pretty insane. Yeah, and let's go into Paragon, I believe. Yeah, Paragon. I have a very different way of approaching Paragons than I think most content creators. I disagree with them, but most of the time. I don't think stacking attributes on your glyphs is the best way to get damage. I feel a lot of the times ran nodes are not as valued when they should be. Especially when you path, especially with the way you path. So anyway, you path this way. Obviously the life nodes are amazing, so you wanna get those. Yeah, you definitely want the life nodes here. In this case, I'm okay with like getting more vulnerable damage. It's because all the agility nodes are quite close by. You don't have to like have one useless node and then get 2. It's just right off the bat you can just add them. So I think this is a great place to put your vulnerable, your exploit glyph. So yeah, you get 39 without much investment personally. So yeah, you path here and you're going for the this is the Decimator 3. Decimator is great because you can hit like life nodes, and then you hit the vulnerable damage node, and then you hit the vulnerable damage nodes. Okay, so down here, most of the time people put the healthy node one. I don't agree with it. I think Barb really shines when it's on low life. I'll show you exactly why later. Because of the fortify mechanics. And then down here you have a I would go for this one. So grants 88% bonus to all rare nodes within range, and then dealing taunt damage to an enemy increases all damage it takes from you by 1%. Just kind of conditional, but then again, Rage of Paragon does give you thorns, so you're going to be doing thorns damage anyway. So yeah. So 88% bonus to all rare nodes means that you get an 88% bonus to this, which is 20% vulnerable damage. So you get 18. You get about like what was it? Let me remove this. So there's 20%, and it goes to 37. So this is 17.6. 17.6 vulnerable damage, which I think is pretty significant. You also get 15%. 7.5 additional damage reduction from vulnerable enemies, which I also think is like super good. So yeah. Yeah, and then you get you need the willpower for this. So like altogether you have 29. You just to hit the bonus. Extra vulnerable damage nodes here, nice too. You path here. The one you're gonna take is Warbringer. So this is this is the way you get EHP. I would say that this is the way you get consistent fortify. You don't even need the fortify aspect to basically cap out your fortify at all times. So I would definitely 100% suggest this. You go here, you're pathing here to get the nodes. So down here, you're going for the agility ones. This is what they call Blood Feeder. You 5% increase critical strike chance against bleeding enemies. So 5% critical strike chance increase is pretty nice. And then your path here, you get as many dex notes as possible. So that's 40 from 5.9% damage to bleeding enemies, which you are gonna get. Bleeding is quite consistent because of lunging strike. You path down here, you get the max fury nodes. So these are max fury and life. Path here to get your Warbringer. Path here to get damage while fortified. It's just, you know, this is efficiency, right? 3 points, you get 20% damage. 25% damage is not too bad. And you also get 45 generation. You path here, you get the max fury nodes as well. So definitely essential, max fury. Life nodes, because it's pretty cheap, 3 points. And then you path here and you go for your next Paragon tree. So this Paragon tree is flawless technique. Damaging enemies with one-handed weapons increases your crit strike chance by 1% for 2 seconds, up to 5. It's very easy to get 5%, just like that. So, you know, from Paragon alone, you're getting 10% crit chance. And then you go here, you're going to path here definitely, because crit strike damage is 30%, and then you're going to get the nodes here. So this is 777. This is a 2.5, I think, crit strike chance plus 30, so 50% crit strike chance just from this one area is really insane. You're definitely going to go here, get life. I think this is the stuff you get at the very end. Now I'm at level 98, so I'm definitely getting these. So this is damage with attack speed. Attack speed is also a very good multiplier. Going here, I'm getting crit strike damage with one-handed weapons because I'm using dual wielding. So this is the one that's quite interesting. This is where you put the ambidextrous glyph. It's very nice because you get 110% bonus to all magic nodes within range, and the magic nodes here are crit strike damage, crit strike damage, crit strike damage, as well as damage reduction from close. So this is a pretty interesting bonus. You get 7.2% damage reduction from close. Really nice. And then you get 24.7% crit strike damage, right? And it's obviously 8% more damage from one-handed. You're gonna path down here, and this is going to be your last Paragon 3. And this one, you're going mainly just to get brawling, right? So brawling skills do 80% increased damage, so that is 80% more damage. And that is for your kick. So your kick is going to do 80% more damage. The bonuses, right? 48.4 to physical and damage reduction is like meh. This is the best place to put it because you're gonna get pretty nice amounts of armor, and you're gonna get fizz damage here. So this is like probably the worst glyph bonus you could get, but you know, you still need it anyway because 80% more brawling damage is like really good. You're parting here just mainly for attack speed and fizz damage because it's just convenient. Yeah. So no, this is the build. Does it do well in PvP? The answer is no. Because Hoda is still like the, you know, the OP PvP ability. I expect that to be nerfed. Oh yeah, why do I believe that Barbs do very well in low life? The fortify mechanic when you're low life is like it's pretty insane. The lower life you have, the lower life you have as opposed to your fortify, your EHP just shoots up drastically, right? Because if you have so let's say you have damage reduction while injured on all three, 1, 2, 3, on all three sources. So that's your amulet, pants, and boots. You basically get like 82.5 or something like that damage reduction. So you're just reducing 82% damage whenever you're injured, when you're low life. And then if you have like maybe about 20k life, right? So I don't have that, unfortunately. The max I think I'll go up to is like 16, I think. It will require different like mods. I have to go for a chest with life and a pants with life to get like 20. Yeah, so if I do get 20, like what happens is that you go to so when you go down to your remaining 35% life, so that's 7k life. What happens at 7k life is you're gonna have 82% damage reduction, but because of fortify, you basically double your life, right? So you're at 14k life, I think, with the 45 damage reduction, and then on top of that you have the 80% damage reduction of injured, and as long as you can keep gaining a small amount of life and fortify at the same time, you're not gonna die. So I think that's like super nice for Barb. And then also if you're crowd controlled, you know, another 50% on top of that, you're gonna be kept alive pretty much throughout the whatever content you're doing. Alright, that's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed the build. I may run around and like get max free and do a big kick. Okay, no, I didn't show anything. Is everything dead here? Yeah, I think everything is dead. It's edge. Yeah, no crits. It's edge. Anyway, yeah, that's all there is to it. I'm done. See you guys. Probably going to just level this 100. Maybe farm a bit more for fun. And then do seasons next. In July 20th. So it's July 20th season start. I will probably be starting a Barb, right? To be frank, I think like if they don't nerf anything, Druid is gonna be like the most broken class for seasons. But my problem with Druid is more of like it's boring. I'll explain why. Like, okay, so Druids they only truly get strong once you get uniques and all your aspects, and that takes time. So like for the first, I don't know, 5 days of playing, you're just gonna feel really sad. I mean, kind of the same for Barb, I feel, but Barb has a lot of different options for gearing, a lot of different options for figuring out and solving problems. So I'm still happy to play Barb. I do think like the best starter for leagues is always gonna be Rogue, because Twisting Blade's broken and they don't really need any aspects that are stuff you can't get through Codex. So Rogue is definitely gonna be like the best starter for any seasonal league start thing. Yeah, but I do like Barb way more than Rogue actually, because I think Barb has a lot more options in gearing, in build making, and etc. Like Rogue, you pretty much stuck either doing imbues or you're stuck doing Twisting Blades. With only like 2 types of playstyle, it gets really dry super fast. Whereas Barb is like, you can do like Hoda, Woen, you can do cooldown reduction, kick stuff, you can do bleed rupture stuff once they fix it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's all there is to it. I'm done. This will probably be the last video until the next season. And I hope you enjoy this. Peace. Bye.